So I'm starting natural language processing course with Hugging Face. Uh, you're living under a rock if you haven't heard about LLMs and how powerful they are. And you are living under a rock if you haven't heard of Hugging Face. So LLM, language models, and natural language processing and Hugging Face, they have become synonymous with each other. And if you want to master this domain, you have to know this. Okay, so this NLP course is a very popular course and very important. So let's just take a look at its, why go through this, and that would be the introduction. And in subsequent chapters, we'll start with the individual chapters. So the agenda is, why is Hugging Face so important? Okay, before Hugging Face, everybody wanted to democratize deep learning. Everybody wanted to make it easier. But the thing is, just because you want to do things easier doesn't mean you will actually succeed in doing that. Everybody wants to write a good story. Everybody wants to make a great movie. Everybody wants to write a great book. But not all books are great. Not all movies are great. Not all libraries are great. In the exact same way, Hugging Face is an exception because there are many libraries which try to do what it tried to do, but it offered an extremely easy way to do everything in deep learning for NLP. I mean, everything, entire end-to-end pipeline, which is starting from data set, then processing that data set, and then the model creation, then training the model, and once the model has been trained, sharing it, making it usable, then hosting that model for whatever. So everything which is there in this can be done in just one place by one thing in a standard way. Hugging Face does them all. So this goal was achieved by Hugging Face, and that's why Hugging Face is so important. It has built a community. So many people are very easily sharing their models, and then it has become accessible to all. So low barrier to entry, make it easy to get started with. That is what Hugging Face has achieved. What it has not achieved is what a human or a domain expert needs to do. So it will offer you ways to get started quickly, but it is not gonna take away the need for knowledge, right? Your expertise in the deep learning subject, that will have to be built on top of this. So it will make all of these things easier, but you have to then go forward, build advanced knowledge on top of it. So Hugging Face is really important because of what it did, and we need to build on top of this to build our own expertise on top of that. So that's the Hugging Face's contribution. And this course, which Hugging Face has done, it right now there are total 9 chapters here, and the subsequent ones are getting released over time. The curriculum of that course is divided into three sections. Okay, section number one is introduction, and whenever you get started with any topic, these are the absolute things you have to know, and only then you can start build diving in deeper. So section one would be these 4 chapters, starting from simple models to using this architecture, then refining it for our use case, and then after we have refined it for any use case we want, sharing it. So these would be the 4 important things, and then we dive deep into the details provided by Hugging Face. And the third would be even more advanced into Hugging Face, using it for other things. So this would be everything to do with Hugging Face. Okay. And as I said before on the previous slide, Hugging Face lowers the barrier to entry, but the domain knowledge part we have to build on top of this. So the deep technical knowledge of deep learning, maybe anything to do with feature map, internal debugging, internal understanding of the network, all of those things are not Hugging Face's job. That knowledge has to be built on top of this. This gives you the structure on which that advanced knowledge can stay. So Hugging Face is extremely hands-on. It allows you to do the coding immediately. And once you can do the coding, once you can get started with the coding, you can slowly go into more detailed things. So that's why Hugging Face, and that's why NLP with Hugging Face. Okay, so if you want to start with this, do not get caught into prerequisite hell. Okay, here let me just change this thing. I will say essential prerequisites, or maybe bare minimum prerequisites to get started. I think this would be the right way to look at it. What is the bare minimum you need to know so that you can get started, and over time you can go into depth? Because many courses, what they say is like, do this program, Python programming, master it all, deep learning knowledge, do it all. And then it takes so much time, and then you don't actually go into the hands-on thing pretty quickly. You have to build understanding. But if you do it in the beginning where you have no understanding, it's going to take a lot of time. So matching the essential part and hands-on part of that and combining them, and then slowly in a spiral way increasing our knowledge and complexity, that would be the right way. So the bare minimum prerequisites to get started would be just intro to Python programming. My suggestion would be go to Kaggle. Kaggle has this intro to programming, Kaggle Learn, and introduction to Python. It's absolutely bare minimum. You can just, get this done in 4 5 hours or a day. This is the bare minimum you need to know, and you can just move forward. So that would be the bare minimum. Then I would also recommend this course, Master Python Programming by Mike X Cohen. And because I'm saying about the bare minimum thing, I'm not asking you to do this entire course. This course of Master Python Programming by Solving Scientific Projects, this course is how many hours? 37 hours. I'm not asking you to do all of it. What I'm asking, bare minimum thing you have to do, and then you can move forward, would be do this part number one, do the introduction, do this part number one basics, okay? And then out of the projects we have, these are all hands-on scientific projects. Out of these projects, pick a few, one or two, which sound interesting to you. Okay. The reason this course I'm recommending is because this Mike X Cohen, the instructor, is a neuroscientist. He's a scientist. He's not from programming background, but he's from science, where uh, the understanding things in an experimental way, in a hard sciences way, this part of knowledge, he actually has that entire background. So neuroscientists are much better teacher than, I would say, programmers, because programmer is quite hands-on and we don't get the scientific aspect of things well, whereas this guy does. So in the bare essential part, I would say, this Kaggle Learn thing and this master Python programming, its introduction and one or two couple of projects. That's it. That would be the bare minimum to get started with the Python. And then basic deep learning knowledge, my recommendation again would be Kaggle Learn courses. These are two, and it's like you would have seen the pattern. The pattern is like it takes 3 to 4 hours to do these courses. So introduction to deep learning and introduction to vision, this computer vision, these are the Kaggle Learn courses, two courses you have. So it allows you to get started, understand this essential concepts, and then you can actually get started with this NLP for deep learning. And when you build this first hands-on thing, then you can go into depth and build a lot more detailed knowledge. So after you do this NLP course but with Hugging Face, then my final recommendation, would be a deep learning course again by Mike X Cohen. He goes into the conceptual sides a lot more then. So after you have built the hands-on skill, then you can go and check his other course, which will help you understand deep learning from a scientist perspective in a more detail. So deep understanding of deep learning with Python intro. And these other courses are also great, but we are not here to give you all infinite courses you could do. I'm here to tell you essential bare minimum things you need to do so that you can get started. And out of that, we have these things. That's it. You can get started with an NLP with Hugging Face course. And once you are done with that, you can check that Mike Access another course and build more details over time. Okay. So that would be the bare minimum essential. There is this optional thing, which is familiarity with what is scientific computing. Right now, deep learning as a domain, it's a combination of programming and scientist. People think of deep learning just as programming. They have forgotten that it's a science. Just because we don't yet understand how a neural network works, we don't even understand how our brain works, by the way. Doesn't mean we have to let go of scientific approach. We have to be methodical. We have to build the eventually the entire theoretical framework of the domain will have to build. Okay, so we need to know that we need to do it, even though we are not there yet. So this is optional, familiarity with scientific computing, because no one has actually talked about how to approach computing, scientific computing, as a combination of scientist plus programmer. So I did not find any resource on this, so I'm going to do a video on it. That video is in progress. Maybe in a week or two I will build it, but right now this is the starting. So I'm starting this NLP course with Hugging Face, going through these chapters. And these chapters right now are into three sections, and everything until this chapter 9 is actually live. And then chapter 10 onwards, it goes into a bit more other details. So you know what, let me just do it a bit faded way. Okay, so these are yet to be released, these chapter 9 to 12. I'll fade it even more. Okay, we have until chapter 9. So we'll go through chapter 1 to 9, and then our NLP with Hugging Face would have been done.